Well, everyone, welcome back to Earthbound Tours. If you've been following along, this is the third and final chapter of our Central America journey. Over the past several months, we've traveled through Costa Rica, dealt with vehicle permits and border crossings, explored Panama, and experienced parts of the world that honestly changed the way we look at travel. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 yet, I definitely recommend watching those first, because this video picks up on our final morning in Panama. Today, it's time to come home. Guess which day it is today? It is time to fly out tomorrow. And it's also time for survey. So it's 8 something, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And we are flying tomorrow out of Panama back to Canada. So it's time to just enjoy that and be prepared to experience the rest of this journey with us. Stay tuned. Seeing that clip again reminds me just how excited we were that morning. At that point, everything was packed, we were ready to hit the road, and the only thing on our minds was getting to that airport. Of course, travel always has a way of throwing you one more surprise. Okay, so we are now coming up to the Bridge of America. Now, funny story on the Panama Canal. Funny story is a couple days ago, supposedly a tanker truck that we heard caught on fire on this bridge and exploded. So it's interesting to see it open, but I'm going to give you the surreal view of the Panama Canal. Thankfully, by the time we reached that area, things had settled down quite a bit. The news made it sound a lot worse than what we actually experienced. But it certainly wasn't the kind of story we expected to wake up to on our last day in Panama. Then, we crossed one of the most famous waterways in the world for one final time. Watching this footage, again, I think this was probably the moment the trip really started to sink in. Crossing the Panama Canal wasn't just another bridge crossing. It meant we were leaving this chapter behind. For months, we'd been exploring Central America one day at a time. And suddenly, our focus had shifted toward home. So there you have it. Nice views going on across the Bridge of America. I didn't see any explosion or fire related things, but it must have been easy to contain. And obviously it was wasn't an accident, but we are now across the bridge and a little bit of ways away from our hotel for the night before we fly out tomorrow. From there, we continued making our way across Panama City. One thing I didn't really appreciate enough while we were there was just how impressive the city actually is. Before this trip, Panama wasn't really high on my travel radar. But now, I'd tell anyone spending time in Central America to make room for it. Okay, so now we're to a point where we're called Old Panama. We'll just showcase you some of the buildings here. The contrast between Old Panama and the modern skyline really does say a lot about that country. History on one side, glass skyscrapers on the other. It's a fascinating place. And then on the other side is another bridge. We go way out onto we didn't do this on the way out, so we're actually now just on a bridge in the middle of the ocean, and it goes out and around and then back into the city. So it's kind of a bypass from what we did on the way in. So this is kind of all new. You can see more of those ships. And we're going to actually get a really spectacular view of Panama City from this side. So this is beautiful. If you haven't been to Panama, you know, there's a lot of neat stuff here. Don't know if any of that recorded, probably not, but really gorgeous cityscape view that we're on this bridge. So yeah, I must have missed hitting record, but we didn't see any of this coming in on here. Now this is where we did a turnaround. Okay, so we're coming up to the fish market.
Punch buggy.
Someone calls a punch buggy on it. There's a rotating restaurant. Here's all the fish market. Mercado de Maricosa. And then up in that roof on that building supposedly is a rooftop restaurant that we may go to, so possibly stand by for that. Otherwise, we are officially in Panama City. Those views honestly became one of my favorite memories from Panama City. Sometimes destinations surprise you. Panama definitely surprised us. After that, there wasn't much left to do except spend one final evening before flying home. So we're at our hotel in Panama, and it's noisy. Let's go for a little walk around. Show you the inside of the hotel. Need a key card. Like most airport hotels, it wasn't really about luxury. It was about convenience. One last comfortable night's sleep before a long day of paradise in airplanes. And before we knew it, that morning had arrived. Today's flight day, and we are in our gate, waiting to take off back to Canada from Panama. Unfortunately, sad to go, but it is what it is. Next few pictures you'll see are from the airplane window and landing in Calgary, Canada. Walking through that airport felt a little strange. For months we had been driving, crossing borders, finding little local restaurants, meeting people, and discovering places we'd never seen before. Now, we were simply another couple standing in line waiting to board a flight home. Another family. It's funny, I always enjoy looking out the airplane window. Not because I'm excited to fly, but because it gives you a chance to think. Looking back over everything that you just experienced. The places. The people. The memories. Travel has an incredible way of changing your perspective. Every trip leaves you just a little different than when you started. When we landed back in Calgary, there was actually another reason to celebrate. It happened to be our anniversary. Not exactly the anniversary we planned months earlier. However, after months traveling together and with family, just spending the day together was more than enough. So this is our first full day in Calgary after landing, and we are in Chinook Mall, and it's a Friday, so it's just getting busier. They're making pretzels down there. Basically, we're here just killing time until we move onwards to our next location, which is Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. But stay tuned for more Calgary adventures. Tonight, Old Spaghetti Factory. We spent some time wandering through Chinook Center before heading out for supper. The Old Spaghetti Factory has always been one of those restaurants that we've enjoyed over the years, so it seemed like the perfect place to celebrate another anniversary. Even if this one looked a little different than most. Then, Canada reminded us exactly where we were. So we've spent 3 days in Calgary, and the interesting part is that it's snowing. What is this ugly weather type stuff here going on? Look at that. Isn't that ridiculous? Welcome to Canada. I still laugh watching that clip. Less than 2 days earlier, we were surrounded by palm trees, warm weather, and tropical scenery. Now, spring in Canada looked like this. Only in Canada. The drive continued east, and with every kilometer, the scenery kept changing. Kept getting flat and flatter. After spending months surrounded by mountains, rainforests, rivers, and volcanoes, Canadian prairies almost looked brand new again. But travel has a funny way of doing that. Sometimes you need to leave somewhere before you can truly appreciate what was there all along. Eventually, we arrived in Saskatoon. Like many of you already know, our lifestyle isn't exactly traditional anymore. Instead of returning to a house that we owned, our next stop was another house sit. And that meant meeting our newest temporary roommate. Ralphie quickly made us feel at home. After months of constant movement, it was exactly the kind of slower pace we needed. A week of a chance to recharge, catch our breath, and start figuring out what the next chapter of life for Earthbound tours would look like. Looking back now, I don't think this journey was ever about Costa Rica or Panama. Those destinations were incredible. But what I'll remember most are the experiences, the people, the unexpected moments, the challenges, the conversations, the things you simply cannot plan. One lesson travel continues to teach us is that home isn't always a place. Sometimes it's the people that you're with. And sometimes it's wherever you're parked for the night. Sometimes it's a hotel room before an early morning flight. Sometimes it's simply the next chapter waiting for you. This may be the end of our Central America series, but it definitely is not the end of Earthbound tours. Since returning to Canada, life has taken us in directions we never expected. There's been new opportunities. There's been new adventures. There's been new ways of traveling. And we're excited to share all of that with you in the months ahead. If you've followed us through these 3 videos, thank you. We truly appreciate every view, every comment, and every one of you who's traveled alongside of us. If you're new to the channel, we'd love to have you join us by subscribing. And if you've ever taken a trip that changed the way that you see the world, let us know about it in the comments below. Until next time, I'm Jeremy. Thanks for traveling with us, and we'll see you in the next adventure.